Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Senior. Coming your way on today's show, going to take a look at the top 10 trade assets in the NBA this offseason in the lead up to the 2022 NBA Draft and with free agency around the corner. But first, we need to give a shout out to tonight's presenting sponsor, Aura, for making tonight's show possible. The leader with online digital security, and right now for all of you out there, they're offering a free 14-day trial if you go to aura.com/chatsports. That link available in the comment section and the description of this video. So on the docket for NBA Now, we're going to take a look at all of the freshest and juiciest NBA trade rumors and take a look at the top 10 best trade assets this NBA offseason after Bleacher Report put together an article with some really big names on this list that we're going to unpack throughout tonight's show, as well as some draft compensation that could be used to lure some star players going from one team to the next. So we start off at number 10 with Tyler Herro of the Miami Heat, the sixth man of the year for the 2021-2022 season. And his development over the last couple of years has been really impressive. He burst onto the scene as a rookie in the NBA bubble, surprised a lot of people with his production that early in his career coming out of Kentucky, where we've seen some players kind of get overshadowed while playing for Coach John Calipari. But Tyler Herro has been a better NBA player than in his lone season at the college level. And this past year, he was really good. And I thought Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, when he missed a couple of games, really missed him. And then when he comes back at the back end, the tail end of that series, he clearly wasn't right. And Miami missed his shot creation. This past year, he was the sixth man of the year because he averaged nearly 21 points per game. He shot nearly 45% from the floor and a tick under 40% from three. If the Heat want to go star hunting this offseason for a player like Donovan Mitchell, and that's been out there as part of these NBA trade rumors, they could use Tyler Herro in a package. Another young player who I really like, it's Bones Hyland from the Denver Nuggets. In the pre-draft process last year, in the lead-up to the 2021 NBA Draft, really liked him coming out of VCU. And he impressed me a lot throughout this past year with his ability to guard a couple of really good players on the defensive end, and he has a little shake, a little bit of wiggle to his game. As a rookie, 10 points per game and knocked down about 40% of his field goals. You have to figure that those shot numbers are going to continue to increase over the next couple of years. And if that happens, he too, a very good trade asset. One of the best young 3-and-D guys in the league is Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. Now, he suffered that foot injury at the start of this past year, missed a bunch of time, came back for the NBA playoffs, and let people know that he's a really good player. Loved this game coming out of Florida State. I think he's become a better player than a lot of people realized. He can defend at a very high level, and he can shoot the three. And nowadays in the NBA, we always talk about these 3-and-D guys. We always talk about valuable players who can defend and put the biscuit in the basket and stretch the floor. Patrick Williams is of that variety. So which team should trade for Williams this summer? Which team is the best destination for him? I don't think Chicago should deal him, but if they do, to get a really good player back, it's the best destination for P. Will. We move ahead to number 7, John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta 2 years ago, they make that run to the Eastern Conference Finals. Trae Young was superb, and Trae Young this past year was even better. The problem with the Hawks, the roster didn't make a lot of seamless sense, and outside of Trae Young, everybody was really inconsistent. John Collins, his numbers really solid after signing that contract extension last summer, which I think is really good value for him, around $25 million per year if I'm not mistaken. 16.5 points per game throughout his career. This past year he was good. He continues to work on his craft from beyond the arc with letting that shot fly. Very good shot blocker and a really good defender, especially on switches, which we see all the time in today's NBA. But the thought process here for Atlanta, are they going to look to shake it up after a frustrating first-round outage against the Miami Heat and their struggles defensively the last 2 years? And really, when they make that run to the Eastern Conference Finals, remember, they were kind of dormant for much of the year. Then after the All-Star break, they went on a tear. So really, the last 2 years, they have been an inconsistent bunch. Do they feel the pressure to break up their current core, and could John Collins be a part of that? At number 6 for the best NBA trade assets, our first draft pick. It's the Portland Trailblazers. According to multiple rumors out there, Portland could look to shop that number 7 overall pick in a trade for a Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine. It's been rumored by Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer that the Trailblazers could look to deal for Zach LaVine and or Bradley Beal. Now, Bradley Beal has that player option. Zach LaVine can become an unrestricted free agent if he doesn't re-sign with the Chicago Bulls. And Portland would love to team Damian Lillard up with those two superstars right there and use the number 7 pick to their advantage to lure more great players to the Pacific Northwest. Make sure you subscribe to us here on Chat Sports. We bring you the best NBA news, NBA rumors. We'll be live for the 2022 NBA Draft on June 23rd. Our free agency coverage, the most watched free agency coverage among all YouTube channels out there. We just got past 300,000 subscribers. Let's continue to grow. 500,000 next. Hit that red subscribe button down below. Plus all of our content 100% free. Aura is tonight's presenting sponsor. Nowadays, we do more online than ever, and Aura does everything and more to keep you and your family safe. The best online digital safety tool where they keep your identity safe and secure with extensive monitoring of your personal info. Think about how many times we plug in our emails, our credit cards, our debit cards to these random online websites. We don't know where that information is going, and what oftentimes happens to millions of people per year, people get their identity stolen for that reason. You can shop, bank, work online more safely and privately today by going to aura.com/chatsports. Start your free 14-day trial by plugging in that link, and that link available in the comments section and the description of this video. At number 5 for our best NBA trade assets, the Sacramento Kings, owners of that number 4 overall pick. Similar circumstance and thought to the Portland Trailblazers. If they don't want that pick and they want a star player, do they trade out? Do they trade that pick away for a really good player for a franchise that hasn't made the playoffs since the early 2000s when the Kings were loaded with Peja Stojakovic and Chris Webber going up against those great Lakers teams? They couldn't get past that threshold because of that infamous ref. But the Sacramento Kings trying to get back to that playoff status. Maybe they could trade away that number 4 pick, and it is indeed a very valuable trade asset. What do you think the Kings will do? Do you think they'll trade that pick? Do you think they'll hold on to it? Let me know. Will the Kings trade number 4 overall? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. I'm taking all of your responses right now in the comment section. One of the most underrated players in the NBA right now goes by the name of Desmond Bane, the former TCU Horned Frog, who was selected by Memphis at extraordinary value back a couple years ago in the NBA draft. And his jump from 2 years ago, his rookie year, to this past year was really massive and very, very impressive. He called himself the best three-point shooter in the game. I won't go as far as to say that because I'll still take Steph Curry over him. But look at the numbers here, folks. 44% shooter with plenty of volume and shot opportunities from downtown for Desmond Bane. 18 points per game, and he was a key cog for a Memphis Grizzlies team that was phenomenal this past year, and the arrow for that franchise, the trajectory of it, certainly pointing up. Another one of my young favorite players at the NBA level is Jonathan Kuminga. Coming out of the NBA G League where he played for the Ignite, I compared his game to Jaylen Brown for these reasons right here. He's kind of a raw player, but I love his size at 6'6", 210. He's working on his shot, but honestly, the form is nice. And what I saw last year, I thought that the form looked pretty good, and he can become, over time, a good three-point shooter. He's an excellent help defender and an absolute athletic juggernaut. In limited time this past year, he threw down some highlight reel-worthy plays and dunks, and when I think about Kuminga going into the future, I do still compare him to Jaylen Brown. And look how valuable Brown has been throughout the NBA Finals. He's been great. He's added to his offensive toolbox, and he's had to fine-tune his skills by getting in the lap a lot over the last several years. I think Kuminga can become a future star in this league. A guy who's also emerging, but we see the emergence right now before our very eyes, is OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. First 3 years in the league, he was an unrefined project. The last 2 years, though, that project has been looking pretty damn good for the boys up north. First 3 years, less than 8 points per game, 3.5 boards, a steal per game, 3 3-point attempts any given night, and he knocked out 36.5% of his three-point shots. Last 2 years, though, man, he's really taken off. 16.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals per night. With the three-point attempts going up by more than double, his three-point percentage has also increased. He's an excellent defender who can guard some of the top wings one-on-one, great athleticism, great size and length, and he's really come a long way as an offensive player. At number 1, the top NBA trade asset in the league, according to Bleacher Report, it is Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. Coming out of Kentucky, I was a huge fan of Tyrese Maxey, the wiggle that he had to his game. His potential as a three-level scorer. He's so creative with his finishing ability, which he needs to do because he does lack some height. But my man is fearless, and we saw that in the 2022 playoffs when I thought that he was the second best player on the Sixers roster outside of Joel Embiid, and that right there is not a hyperbolic statement. He burst onto the scene, he turned heads, and he made people realize that he has pure stud potential, and the fact that the Sixers got him in the 20 is an absolute steal, thanks to Mike Muscala in the NBA bubble for hitting a late three, because that's what conveyed the pick to the Philadelphia 76ers so that they could take Tyrese Maxey. I think he has superstar written all over him. He has the character to be the face of the franchise, the work ethic that people rave about. Sam Cassell has done a great job of developing his overall skill set. Still has a lot of potential as a defender, and 2 years ago in the playoffs, I thought he locked down Trae Young on a couple of occasions, and in the playoffs, became a really good three-point shooter. 38% from downtown, 48% from the field, nearly 21 points per game, and in the regular season, he was a shade under 20. I think this upcoming year, he's going to be a focal point for Doc Rivers in Philadelphia, and I think that Maxey is going to be able to average these numbers in the regular season. And if he does that, this Philadelphia team becomes very, very dangerous, and he could be the 1B to Joel Embiid being the 1A. So with that, I ask you this, our last question on this segment. What is the best trade asset in the NBA? Is it Tyrese Maxey? Is it somebody else on this list? Another player who we didn't talk about? Let me know in the comment section. And thanks so much for watching today's show.